Welcome back to another Idiot's Guide to Summoning. Congratulations on learning all about normal, special, ritual, fusion, synchro, exceeds, and pendulum summoning. I bet you've been enjoying getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Now that you're all caught up with all those new and crazy summoning techniques. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I got some bad news for you. Have you ever heard of link summoning? Yeah, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, you see, due to the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain series coming out, they've decided to not only add a new type of summoning, but change up the field pretty drastically. It's not all bad though, as it means I get to invite you to another An Idiot's Guide to Link Summoning. First up, before we get to link summoning, what the heck has happened to the field? An easy way to describe this is, remember World of Warcraft when that dragon came and fucked up the landscape and changed it all? It's kinda like that, but the Yu-Gi-Oh! Version. This is what the field used to look like, and now this is what it looks like with the introduction of the new rules. You'll have to give it one thing, it does look tidier. So let's work our way up, shall we? You'll notice that the spell and trap card zones are still at 5. However, the left and rightmost spaces are now pendulum zones as well. What they have done is remove the separate pendulum zones and merge them with the end spell and trap card zones. All this really means is if you play pendulum monsters in your deck, if you place pendulum scales, those cards will take up 2 of your spell and trap card zones, leaving you with only 3 spaces for your other spell and trap cards. Of course, if they are removed, you can use them for spell and traps again. Next, the monster card zones are now renamed the normal monster zones. This is because you can no longer summon extra deck monsters into the monster zones. Instead, you have to use the brand new extra monster zone. Yes, this means what you think it does. You can now only summon 1 extra deck monster at a time. Also, I know there are 2 spaces, but you can only actually use one of them. Say I summon an Xyz monster on the left, then the right one becomes my opponent's, and I am unable to use it. Now, if this was all the changes that Konami had made to the game, then you would be right in thinking you can only use 1 extra deck monster at a time. But that's not the case, due to the introduction of link summoning. First up, what is a link monster? A link monster is an extra deck monster card. Its colour is a dark blue with a hexagonal pattern similar to a honeycomb on it. You will notice that link monsters have no levels and no defense points. This is because link monsters cannot be under any circumstances in defense mode. They just won't budge. As well, this means because they do not have levels, link monsters cannot be used for ritual, synchro, or exceeds summons. So instead of defense points, you will notice a number. This is called a link number. This is important as it's what you need to look at in order to summon the monster. Simply enough, a link monster's link number determines how many effect monsters need to be tributed in order to summon the link monster from the extra deck. Let's say I have this monster, Decode Talker, which has a link number of 3. To summon a link 3 monster, you need to tribute 3 effect monsters. Simple enough, right? You just have to tribute effect monsters equal to the link number. Again, let's say it was a link 2, you tribute 2 monsters. Easy peasy. There is also another way to summon them. Going back to Decode Talker, you can also use another link monster as a tribute. Let's say this guy, Honeybot, who has a link of 2. That monster now counts as 2 monsters since it has a link number of 2. So you can tribute Honeybot and 1 more effect monster. This now totals 3, and voila, a link summon of a link 3 monster. So, what makes the link monsters so special then? Well, now that you have your link monster on the field, this is where the link markers come into play. If you look at the card, you will see some arrows around the monster's frame. The arrows that are lit up red will point to different monster zones. These zones are now linked to the monster. Being linked does 2 things. First up, the linked monster's effect works with the linked monsters in the linked zones. For example, Honeypot's effect. Neither player can target monsters in this card's linked zones with card effects. Also, those monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So, the monsters on the left and right of this card now receive this monster's effects. Pretty cool, right? The second thing linked monsters can do is the linked zones can now be used to summon more extra deck monsters. That's right, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and even more linked monsters can be special summoned from the extra deck to a main monster zone that is currently a linked zone. If you want to visualize a linked monster, then do it like this. Imagine it's electrically charged. Once they hit the field, they can send a current to wherever they point to. This powers up the zone and makes it possible to summon more powerful monsters to them. As well, with another linked monster, you can keep the current going and extend how many zones you can summon powerful monsters to. And with that, that is basically all you need to know about linked summoning. Of course, there's going to be more questions about this new summoning style, but the best way to learn is getting out there and trying it yourself once you can get your hands on the new cards. Worst case, just go and watch the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain series to learn all about the new way of summoning.
Wow, thanks a lot for teaching me about link summoning and the new game mechanics.